What's going on, everybody? So I want to do a quick dive and update on some of the stuff I have been watching. I know I haven't done this in like a couple of months, but just busy with a bunch of the playoffs and NFL draft and all that stuff. Was just too busy watching sports, and then now that it has kind of died down, had a bit more time to watch some stuff. So quite a bit ago, I did watch a pretty older movie. I think it came out in 2009 called Sunshine Cleaning. Stars Amy Adams and Emily Blunt, Alan Arkin. I didn't know really much about this movie. I don't even remember a trailer. But one time, like earlier this year, it had popped up like on my YouTube algorithm for some reason, the trailer, and I'm like, okay, that kind of seems interesting. And of course, it was like one of the options I gave my girlfriend at the time to watch, and of course, she picked it because it two actresses she knew and I'm assuming likes. But yeah, it's pretty interesting because it's a girl who's down on her luck a bit, trying to make ends meet, just doing like regular house cleaning, but then she starts kind of having some sort of an affair, I guess, with this police officer, and he kind of tells her that he found out there's this some type of third-party companies that come in and clean up like crime scenes and all that stuff. So if there was like a murder or something happened in the house, obviously all that stuff has to be taken out or cleaned. And apparently there's these third-party companies that do that. So she got in, kind of started her own business, even though it wasn't like fully legal the way she was doing it. So she ended up like, obviously getting the correct permits and all that stuff. And then a couple of things happen here and there, but it's more about the relationship between pretty much the family, like her sister who ends up working with her and then her dad as well. So even though it's an older movie, didn't really know much about it, I still liked it overall. Probably wouldn't watch it again, but it's a nice, different type of movie to watch. And obviously, Amy Adams is a really good actress. So is Emily Blunt, and we had sadly lost Alan Arkin pretty recently as well. But yeah, they all did very good in that movie. So if you're looking for something interesting like that, definitely check it out. And this other movie, pretty old one as well. I think it came out in the mid '90s, called Fargo. I know they have a pretty new TV show that's been going on for a handful of seasons, and sort of always saw that and kind of was interested, but I never thought I was going to be able to watch that because I thought I would have to watch the movie prior, but kind of seems like it's its own like different thing, different type of stuff, so I probably could have just watched it. But kind of glad I did watch this too, because it's made by the Coen brothers, who obviously I loved No Country for Old Men and Burn After Reading and all that type of good stuff. But yeah, it's one of their first ones, and yeah, it's pretty interesting too. It's where like some guy tries to get a couple of hitmen to basically kidnap his wife, so then he could get his father-in-law to give him some money, so that he could end up splitting it with the robbers or whatever, or the two guys that he has them kidnapped his wife. But of course, as usual, everything goes to crap, and I think it was actually based on a true story. I don't know, because some people had joked about that too, that whenever it says based on a true story, that it probably isn't 100% true, but if it was, then that would be pretty crazy, if because of how much crap and all that stuff that did happen, because obviously it does not go to plan and everybody gets involved. But yeah, it definitely reminded me of like a little bit more of like a funnier, calmer version of Pulp Fiction, because I guess that came out around the same time, so I'm sure people were saying those were kind of mirror images of each other, just one very drastic on one side, the other one kind of more mellow, I guess. But it was very funny. You kind of want to do the accent like, how you doing, Bob, eh? Like you want to do that, because I don't think they weren't Canadian, but they were kind of like Minnesota or something like that, but I think they mentioned like one of the Dakotas as well. But either way, yeah, I thought it was a pretty enjoyable movie. Would probably see it again, but definitely looking forward to that TV show as well. So looking forward to that. A new show I ended up watching that came out within the last month or so was Fallout, that premiered on Amazon Prime. I guess it's based off a video game that I never really got to play in the past decade and a half or so, even though it's been out for quite a bit. But I guess you were kind of in a vault or something like that. But the way the show kind of goes, it's like pretty much the end of times, where a bunch of nuclear weapons detonate and pretty much people who were living in these things called vaults were the only ones that survived. And then it basically, that's how it starts off, where the bombs drop within like the first 10-15 minutes, and then it goes all the way fast forwards to like 200 plus years later, where these people who had a society of people that lived and farmed and try to basically live until they were able to move back up to the surface of Earth and live again. But they had to learn different ways, and obviously things were a lot different and all this stuff. But it's a bit more advanced too, because even when it kind of felt like it was the 50s or 60s in the beginning, there were some like more advanced type of buildings and certain products and stuff that were used. So they had already kind of had this technology around. But yeah, basically some people break into one of the other vaults, because there's apparently 30 something of them, and then they break into the main one where our main characters are. They take the main character's father away to the surface, so then she decides to go after him, even though she has never left and experienced the outside, the real world. But a lot of things are crazy, because people who basically were out there and contaminated by the radiation, they didn't really die. They kind of have like something weird happen to them where they're called a ghoul, where I guess if you take some type of antidote, you can kind of control it, but you're still basically kind of like half dead, but you're not going crazy when it comes to like, if you don't have that antidote, then you kind of turn into a mindless zombie pretty much. So everything goes back to zombies and all this stuff with this end of the world crap nowadays. But yeah, it is kind of interesting, because there's different stuff, and there's like a elite task force of guys in like these big old metal suits, and they kind of have their own thing that they're controlling certain parts of Earth and stuff after everything happened, and then everything kind of goes all together, eventually all mixes up. It was pretty good for the most part. At times some of the episodes were a little bit long. I kind of don't mind that if it's a really good show, but if it's sometimes this show that I'm confused at what's happening at times, or don't really know like certain little Easter eggs, and it kind of doesn't make sense to dwell on something and I'm not going to get it, because there was times where I probably should have been laughing and I'm like, am I supposed to be taking this seriously? Should I take this seriously? But either way, it was enjoyable enough for me to recommend it to anybody who is interested in it. There are times where it's not as much action as they kind of promote that it is. It's a little bit more of the world building, but I did not mind that at all. But it did just take a little bit longer than I would have liked. But either way, would still recommend it if you're looking into Fallout. And yeah, it's just about a month or so before the new season starts, The Boys did release a full regular trailer to pretty much let you know what is going to be happening in this season 4, and it was just glorious, perfect stuff, everything you expect from The Boys and more, and definitely some more crazier stuff that they kind of previewed there. So definitely looking forward to seeing where the story goes. I think it starts June 13th, so you still have about a month or so to catch up on the first 3 seasons. Only like less than 10 episodes per. They are like 40 something minutes each average, but still definitely check them out. It's going to be one heck of a season in my opinion, and I think they already got picked up too for the 5th season. So I'm like always kind of like skittish and worried about that when it comes to certain things, because then it's like, oh well, then I guess nobody dies or something doesn't happen. But the good thing about The Boys, maybe not a good thing to some people, is that pretty much any character can die or not be in there. It's kind of like a Quentin Tarantino movie, so don't get attached to too many people right away. But that's already awesome that they're already greenlit for a 5th season. I know this one took a while because of the writer strike and directors and all that stuff, so hopefully they will be able to crank out that other one. And same thing with like The Bear that recently released another like quick teaser that I can't believe that's already going to be premiering a couple weeks in June after The Boys too. So that's going to be awesome as well. I can't believe they started shooting that in end of February and already have that going and ready to go pretty much. So yeah, it's definitely very excited. It's a good time if you're into certain shows like me. I'm not really into shows or series that much, but when there's certain ones that are pretty awesome, I definitely stick with them, and it's going to be a definitely very exciting June coming up for myself and when it comes to TV shows. Speaking of one of my favorite TV shows, yes, the American version of The Office, obviously one of the better shows out there of all time, but apparently there's going to be some type of in-universe type of story, so it's not going to be Dunder Mifflin per se, but it is going to be in the same universe, apparently, just in a different city. I believe they're going to Chicago, and it's going to be some type of failing newspaper company and all this stuff, and I only know one of the main leads, and that's the guy, Domhnall Gleeson, who I've known him from like the Star Wars movies, and I think he was in Peter Rabbit too, this other movie, About Time, which is pretty good that nobody knows about. And the woman, I don't really know who she is. She might be, I think they said she was from White Lotus, but I never got to see that one either. I know that one has gone pretty viral, so probably have to check that one out at some point. But yeah, overall, definitely very happy about this, and I think they only probably said it's in the same universe because maybe some of those other workers in the office, and I don't think the main people, probably not like Jim, obviously not Michael Scott and Dwight Schrute. I don't think they're going to be in this series. They might pop up maybe. You never know. But I know Pam, there's definitely a possibility Pam could be in there because she even has a very popular show with the actress that plays Angela, at least a podcast where they go through each episode, so that's always been pretty viral for them. But I can see the other characters from The Office, the lower end ones, being put in there as well that we all come to love, so that'd be pretty cool to see. So yeah, definitely looking forward to that whenever that does end up premiering. And some big news if you're a fan of Lord of the Rings, apparently Peter Jackson is working on some type of prequel movie that involves the character Gollum. So you kind of got that little bit of a flashback when he was Smeagol and all that in the third film, The Return of the King, in the beginning, and then you saw him turn into Gollum slowly and eventually how he became. But yeah, it was pretty much like a 5-minute thing, but I guess they're going to go back and do some other type of story that I guess J.R.R. Tolkien did, so that could be kind of interesting just because sadly Peter Jackson isn't going to be directing it, but he is going to help write it with his two co-writers of the first 3 Lord of the Rings films, Philippa Boyens, I believe is his wife, and Fran Walsh. I don't know, one of those two is his wife, but either way, they're bringing at least the writing crew back together, which is nice, but they are getting the actor who is most likely going to still be playing Gollum, and Andy Serkis, to come and direct the movie, which is pretty cool and interesting because, yeah, his more recent film, Venom 2, wasn't really as good, but he did do a smaller movie that probably not a lot of people know about that he directed called Breathe with Andrew Garfield, where I think he portrayed someone who was real, who had like something happened to him medically, and he had to basically be paralyzed from the neck down, and it's like a very triumphant story about how he lived his life afterwards. So that's a really good film if you're looking for like a nice tearjerker. But yeah, once again, another great Andrew Garfield performance that he does not get any recognition for. But yeah, either way, looking forward to this, seeing what the old crew can do when it comes to a new movie. I think that might come out in 2026. I don't think 2025 because it's a lot of digital work probably, but 2026, that's still pretty soon in my opinion. So yeah, looking forward to that. And then I was able to watch pretty recently, it was a movie called The Iron Claw, which came out late last year in 2023, so this knocks off another one off my 2023 list, but I don't know why it took so long to get to streaming. I don't know if it was on a certain streaming platform that I did not have, or it just took a while, but it was finally on Max now and was able to watch it this first week. And yeah, I did get pretty emotional towards the end because obviously it deals with a lot of family stuff and brotherhood, but it's a movie about the Von Erichs, who were a pretty big wrestling family in Texas, who kind of started up their own area, their own promoting stuff down there, and it kind of rivaled the WWF and other types of places out there, because it wasn't just the WWF, it was like the National Wrestling Association or something like that they called it. So yeah, they kind of ran their own thing, and they were all really good, but you know the dad did push them quite hard, and they kind of all had their own downfall. Especially a lot of the sons took the brunt of it, and I won't say exactly what happens, but definitely was a tearjerker towards the end. And if you're looking forward to a pretty good film, you should definitely watch it, because I thought it was pretty much Zac Efron's best performance, in my opinion, in a film, unless you count High School Musical 2. But either way, yeah, I think it was definitely one of his better things, especially physically, what he had to do to just look like a wrestler back then, who, yeah, it's just crazy. The amount of crap you do, and then you still have to act and do all your stuff. But yeah, a lot of great actors in there. Even the main guy from The Bear, Jeremy Allen White, is one of the main brothers in there as well. So overall, thought everybody did a great job in that film. Really well directed. Also, it's a great sports movie, great family movie. Like I said, definitely a tearjerker throughout. So yeah, if you're looking forward to a good sports movie, definitely check it out. So yeah, pretty much catch you up on everything so far, I believe. Yeah, so that's pretty much everything that I have seen up to date, and we'll update you hopefully sooner than this last video that I did. But yeah, definitely looking forward to seeing some new stuff, because I think some other stuff is coming to streaming, like American Fiction was another 2023 one that I think is on Amazon now. A couple other stuff here and there, so looking forward to that. So yeah, thanks for watching, people. Like and subscribe, comment down below. Let me know what y'all think. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.